Hi everybody, it's Aggie with Art Around Studio, and I'm doing another Facebook Live. Yay! Coming at you from my studio in my home. It's my basement level. You might hear some things. My husband is upstairs cooking dinner. I've got a Labradoodle that sometimes comes down here and pokes me when he wants me to take him out. It's funny, I got someone else's notification that they're going live in 10 minutes. So I'm a little bit early. Welcome. And I don't like it when I'm watching live videos or like a replay later, or actually when I'm watching a live video and they don't start talking, they wait till other people get there, and I'm like, but I'm here. It's like, isn't that just like maybe a little bit rude? I don't know. So I just start talking. I figure, people will watch the replay, right? So, at any rate, if it is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to be painting tonight. I'm an acrylic painter and an instructor. And I love painting, and I have a bit of a headache, and I hope that it'll go away from relaxing and painting. So, yeah, I'm a little bit early. I probably should wait till 6 till I actually start my demo. But I thought I would just kind of, I got tape. I got a mess here on my table. Any of you guys have a messy work table? I don't care. I've got my water, I've got my paints nearby, I've got everything nearby so that I can just, start right at 6. Oh, let me pull you guys up on my iPad over here. That way I can see the comments over here. It'd be easier. Let's see if I'm tech savvy enough to do this. I always panic a little bit inside that I won't be able to do it just right. Just like new painters feel when they're painting, right? So I totally get it. Okay, here I am. It says Art Around Studio is live now, and there I am. And I always forget to turn the volume down. Well, maybe my volume is turned down. Oh, it's spinning. I think our internet is slow today. I heard a long time ago that, oh yeah, it is. I gotta turn the volume down. I heard a while ago that that the internet, like your reception or whatever, is affected by the leaves on the trees. Somebody said that to me once. I've heard it a couple of times actually. I wonder if it's really true. Who knows? Anyway, hopefully I will see your comments here. Hopefully you will make some comments. I never knew all the stuff about Facebook until I started my business and found out that you're helping a small business out by commenting and giving hearts and likes and thumbs up and all of that stuff. Facebook likes that interaction. So hopefully I'll say something that you like or do something that you like. So, okay, I wanted to show you a couple of things. I'm so tired today, I'm not even getting up. I think I'm going to ask you guys if you want me to do maybe a demo on this. So I posted this earlier today. I am sprucing up one of my spare bedrooms. I think every 10 years you should automatically have like a new house shower where people give you gifts again, because everything's old and worn out every 10 years. What do you think? Good idea? So I'm sprucing up a spare bedroom and kind of going with beachy colors, neutral, calm colors. And I went into a furniture store the other day just looking at some things. I don't think I need to buy anything really, but I like looking for ideas. Do you ever do that? Just go into a furniture store and maybe just look at the accessories, look for ideas and things like that. So I saw this painting. Actually, it was a diptych, 2 paintings side by side. And I really loved it. Of course, I think it was probably, they were 2 big square canvases. They were probably, I don't know, 24 by 24 each. So they were nice and big. But anyway, it turned out kind of cute. And I mean, I know it's kind of, you know, whatever. It's just the right kind of feel for this time of year. But I was thinking about what I want to talk about, and I realized that if I do a demo on this, it'll cover all of the basic, like, acrylic rules, if you will, tips and tricks that someone who is brand new to acrylic painting would want to know about. So I think I'm gonna do that. What do you guys think? Should I do a demo on this? Or I could just, you know, talk about all the different things. I think it'd be easier if I do a demo. I think that's what I'm gonna do. If you didn't catch my live, I did a live a couple days ago on these cherry blossom paintings. Which way do they go? I think it goes this way. I guess you can kind of make them go just about any which way, couldn't you? And so I did a demo on this. Here's a vertical. And these are matted. So these are original pieces of art that I did. And I had a really fun time. I actually showed you exactly how I did it. And I explained a little bit more in depth and put the information inside of the Painter's Journey Creative Community group that I created, and I'd love for you to join that group. You'll get more things like this. That's probably, I don't know, that might be where I put my promotional things in that group. Videos and PDF downloads and freebies and things like that to promote my online classes. So anyway, I'm going to have a contest tonight and give these away if you share the video. So I'm going to give you more details about that in just a bit, hopefully when we have a few more people here. So yeah, you could get some original artwork sent to you just for sharing. Sharing is caring, right? So I would love it if you would, you know, say hello, tell me where you're from, and tell me if you are an acrylic painter or if you're a painter of any kind. Are you a creative person? Do you just like to watch people paint? I totally get that. It's kind of relaxing. So say hello, let me know who you are, where you're from, something, a little something about yourself. Anyway, okay, it's just about 6. I think we need just a couple more minutes. Will this tell me the exact time on here? Yeah, it's just about 6. It's not quite 6. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. So, you know what I'll do meanwhile? I'll get my paints out. So I like to use I like to use styrofoam plates, and I think I do that because of the paint parties, you know. And squirt all the paint out, and then you can put another plate on top, and it keeps them from drying out, because acrylic paint will dry very, very quickly, which I think is actually good. I used to be afraid of it when I first started. I was afraid of acrylic paint drying so fast, but now that's my friend. That's a good thing. So the colors that I'm going to use for this, and I'm going to mix, I've got craft paints that I use sometimes. Hi, Londa. Oh, thanks for saying something. So Londa says, hi, I'm from Louisiana. I am a calling owner and painter. I like to do, let me look on this one. I like to do acrylics. Love also, I hope you don't mind, charcoal drawing, calligraphy. Okay. Hi, Melissa from Georgia. I paint very little. Oh, I'm going to be doing some kids tutorials. I'm going to launch, it's still kind of in the planning stage, but I'm going to be launching a series of animal paintings for kids to do. And it's going to be a really great price, and I'm just now putting my head together about what that's going to be. So stay tuned for that. You should like my page, and I'll give updates as I'm figuring that out. So anyway, I've got apple barrel white paint that I'm going to use. You probably haven't heard of this color too often, Dyck Brown. It's the same thing as burnt umber. That's one thing I hate, the paint companies. Oh, thank you, Melissa. You like my flamingo? That's one of the lessons in the painter's journey. And wait, I think I did that as a live. I think if you scroll through my page, I'm pretty sure I did that as a live demo that you could watch. Okay, so Van Dyck Brown, same thing as burnt umber. And then I'm going to use a Phthalo Blue. And you know, Phthalo Blue, phthalos are always really strong, highly pigmented, and I don't need much of that. I'm just giving myself a little squirt of Phthalo Blue. And there is just a touch of some green in here, kind of a subtle green. So I'm going to I'm going to make my own green. You know, you never really have to buy a tube of green, ever again. You can mix your own greens. But it is convenient to buy them. I will admit. I'm going to turn the comments off over here because I keep reading the comments on my phone. So, you know, I mean, I've done a lot of lives, but it's still kind of new to me. But I figure the more I do it, the more comfortable I'll get. I'm going to give myself just a tiny bit of a bright yellow, which would be like, you know, just straight up yellow. Not much. And I don't know if you're familiar with raw sienna, but raw sienna is considered an earth color. So the earth tones are what they actually find in the ground when they are mining for pigment, you know. And raw sienna makes just beautiful, soft, subtle, landscapey yellows. You know, it's what you would add to blues to make a nice, realistic green. So it's kind of a toned down yellow. So a little bit of that, and then just a little bit of black too, because there's a tiny bit of gray in there, believe it or not. Now you don't always have to use black to gray down a color. What we talk about a lot in the painter's journey is using the complementary color. The color on the opposite side of the color wheel is the complement. And so the way complements work is if you put them side by side, they will kind of enhance each other. If you mix them together, they mute each other down. So anyway, let's see. Organizing my thoughts a little bit on how I want to say this. So if any of you are like really, really beginner painters, or even if you are, you know, somewhat comfortable with painting, hopefully you'll pick up a few tips tonight. That would be my goal. I want to be helpful for you. I'd like to be a resource for you. I'd like to get you back into painting if you haven't been, because painting has been so wonderful in my life. It's been like my best friend, next to my husband. So we all should be painting. And I'm going to be giving away, I did do, I don't know if you all heard this, there's a couple new people here. But I'm going to be giving away some of my original art. I did these just a few days ago as a live demonstration. These are watercolors with ink. And if you share the video, if you share this live, I'm going to enter you in a drawing, and I'm going to pull a winner and send you this original artwork. I've got 3 different ones. Aren't they cute? Cherry blossoms. I guess I'm kind of a cherry blossom fanatic lately. This could be, I think this is meant to be a vertical actually, yeah. And then this one, it could go this way. I think I originally planned for it to go this way. So anyway, please share. Sharing is caring. So please do share the video and share this live. And then what you would need to do is come back and comment shared, so that we know that you shared it. All right, so I'm going to set these over here. And so we're going to get started on this demo. And I think I'm going to try and just throw all these different tips in there and as we're going. So, okay. Let's see, I don't want to use this brush. Well, maybe I do. All right, so this is a 1-inch flat brush, and flat brushes are really great because you can turn them this way and get a skinny line, or use them this way and get a wide line. And I love flat brushes. And again, I remember when I first started painting, I did not like these brushes at all. I was kind of afraid of them, you know. So we're all intimidated by these things, you know. Don't feel like you're the only one. You're not. So I definitely, and you know that acrylic paint, it doesn't come out of clothing too easily. I'm sure you know it. But if you do get it on your clothing, if you get at it right away, if you put a little rubbing alcohol on it, it will kind of break it down and weaken it. It's kind of like latex paint. If you ever painted, you know, walls in your house and you got paint on your clothing, you know. It's the same thing as latex paint, pretty much. Acrylic paint is. It's polymer. It's kind of plasticky, so it comes off of hard surfaces, but not clothing. But rubbing alcohol helps a lot. So anyway, okay. So we're going to paint this whole background. So let's say you're painting it a solid color at first. What you want to do is put it down in a nice even coat. And what does that mean? Not too bumpy, not too thin, you know, just right, Goldilocks. So let me mix up my color first. So when you're mixing a color, like I want to match this, right? And a lot of people in my classes, I've taught thousands of people, by the way. I don't know if you guys are familiar with me at all, but I still do paint parties. I should put my easel. Let me grab an easel real quick. So I still do paint parties, you know, in-person events. I can accommodate up to 150 people. And I've had some very large classes, and I've taught thousands of people over the past 5 years with my business called Paint Party Girl. And now I don't do it quite as much because, you know, going out every night doing that got a little bit old. I still do it, but not as much. My business is more online now. So very often what I saw was that people are really reluctant to mix more paint, and they would freak out if they ran out of the color that they mixed. I ran out. How did I make that color again? And I know, believe me, it's stressful, because you're afraid you're not going to remember how to do it, or you're not going to make it exactly the same color. So I just want to say, don't ever worry about that. You know, let your style be, at least while you're a beginner, let your style be such that you have different colors in there. If it's not the exact same color, it's okay. If you absolutely have to have one color throughout the whole thing, then buy that in a tube or bottle, you know, and make yourself, that's what professional artists do. They'll mix up a big batch of something because they know from experience that they may not get that color dead on. So they'll make a big batch, put it in a jar with a lid, you know, and then they'll have it. So anyway, I think I'm digressing too much. I'm going to try and stick to... Hi, Christine. Thanks for coming. So Christine, if you didn't know, I am giving away some of my Cherry Blossom original artwork tonight. If you share this live and then come back on here and say shared, you'll be entered in our contest to win an original piece of art from me. So anyway, okay, so I'm doing a demo. Oh, I should put this over here where we can see it. I'm doing kind of a demo here and explaining tips and tricks for beginner acrylic painters. And so first I'm going to mix this color, and it's kind of a, I don't know if you can see, there's different like swatches of color back there. It's not a solid color. So I'm going to be mixing different swatches of color on the fly and get like almost a patchwork look back there. So you always want to start with your light color, and you want to try and get in the habit of taking the color from the edge of the puddle like this. Don't dip your brush in the middle of the puddle. So I'm going to get my white, maybe 2 dollops of white. I probably need more than that. And I'm just going to come up with that basic blue-gray. It's very, very pale. So I'm just going to get a corner load, and again, I'm going to take it from the edge of the puddle of the Phthalo Blue. Kind of put that down on there. I'm not even going to mix it yet. And then I know I need a tiny bit of this brown also, another corner load of, that's Van Dyck Brown, and a tiny, tiny dot of black. Okay, so I know because I did this painting today and I still remember, I know how to mix that color. So there it is, and it's basically a really pretty gray. Now, if you're not sure how a color looks, you can always have a little piece of paper nearby and put a little swatch on there and then dry it with your blow dryer, because acrylic paint always looks a little bit darker when it dries. So if it's really critical to you, you can always do that. Have yourself a little piece of paper over here on the side. But for me, it's not that critical. And the other thing you could do, you really don't know how it really looks until you actually put it on there. So don't be afraid to just go ahead and put it on your canvas. Now here's what I want to say with regard to, you know, how you load the brush, how you put it on. Ideally, I'm being messy tonight. Ideally, you don't want the paint to go up into this silver part. This is the ferrule. So anatomy of a paintbrush. Handle, ferrule, and bristles. Easy. So ideally, you want to only load it halfway. But honestly, with, you know, in paint parties and the style of paintings that we do, you're going to get paint all the way up into your ferrule. Don't worry about it. It's not the worst thing in the world. But here's what happens. It kind of has like a widening of the hips, like we all get. After a while, the paint starts to kind of make the hips sag out, and it gets wider and wider. And then your bristles, the tip of your bristles, kind of go ugh. So you want to wipe this against the rim of the plate every once in a while, and I call that chisel pointing my brush. And that's just kind of getting my brush back into shape, so to speak. So that's what I'm doing here, because I already got a big glob of paint down by my ferrule and I don't want it there. So that's a good tip. You always want to try and keep the paint on the, you know, the bristle end of the brush, not the ferrule end. And so then when you're applying it, oops, I got a drip right here, but that's okay. So when you're applying it, you basically, I got a little piece of lint right there, or something fell from somewhere. You basically want to push into the canvas because it has a texture weave to it, and if you don't apply a little bit of pressure, it won't go into those tiny little weaves. Oh, thanks, Christine. And so I call this my windshield wiper stroke. I go back and forth, and I can go the other way too. You just don't want to leave a big lump of paint like that. See how I just put that on there, and there's, I don't know if you can see that. There's a bump of paint right there because I just kind of sloppily put it on. You don't want to have any ridges of paint sticking up. You just want, that's what I mean by a nice, smooth, even coat. No biggie. All right, so I'm going to mix up more color, and it's going to be a little bit different now because that is very, very gray. I want it to be bluer than that. But there's nothing wrong with having that color down on there, even if it's not exactly what I want. That's fine. I'm going to point you guys down a little bit more. Maybe you can see a little bit better. Sorry about that. I get kind of carried away with what I'm talking about sometimes. So, okay. So I added a little bit of blue, and I'm just going to mix that in with what I've got. And I like to kind of smush whatever's in my bristles, smush it into the new mixture, right? So now it's a little bit bluer. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, not bad. I'm kind of letting myself explore exactly what color I want this to be. Let me put it in another spot. I'm not adding any water, I want you to notice. You know, it's not watercolor paint, it's acrylic paint. You don't need to add water to it. You know, only under certain conditions, I guess. But for something like this where I want to cover my whole background, don't add water. And if you ever do add water, you never want to add more than 30% water because that'll really weaken, the paint and it won't like bond properly. So now I'm going to make it a lot darker. Ooh, that's way dark. That's okay. So you always want, you're mixing a color, you always want to just add little bits and try a little bit at a time. If for some reason the color that you mix is totally wrong, you're better off starting a new pile of color than to try and fix a bad pile of color. It just makes a lot more sense. Unless it's a really huge pile, then I would say take half of it and then mix up your new color there. Hi, Nancy. Oh my goodness. It's so funny to see you here. I watch Nancy all the time. I think I'm turning red. So, okay. Well, I got enough white there. So I'm going to add more white to this. And again, I'm taking this from the edge of my puddle so I don't contaminate the interior of my puddle. We don't like that, do we? And lightening that up, let's see what that looks like. Not bad at all. So I am still going to just continue mixing up different swatches of this blue-gray color. I'm making like a patchwork background for my blossoms on branches. And at some point, I'll have my entire background filled in with all these different swatches of color. So this is looking pretty gray, but that's okay. So the thing you want to continue doing is you want to paint the edges of your painting. I like doing my edges first. I like just getting that out of the way because if you, I don't know, have you priced framing lately? It's kind of expensive. And sometimes you really can get away with just hanging a painting without a frame. You know, these gallery wrap canvases are really pretty nice looking when you've got the edges painted. So right here you can see that I'm getting a little bit of drag. When I go to paint this, it's dragging. And that's another thing I see with beginner acrylic painters. It can mean one of three things. You don't have enough paint on your brush, or the paint on your brush is a little too dry, it's not nice and juicy, or you're not applying enough pressure. So painting should not be a drag. It should just glide right on there. So, so you know, figure out which issue you have. And my brush was empty. So, but I did that on purpose. I wanted to show you guys that. And you know, these are all little things, like if you're going to be painting with your kids, these are all things you're going to see them doing. They might get so carried away with painting that they forget to load their brush. But I will say, I've taught a lot of kids. That's usually not the problem. Can you guys guess what the problem is with kids? The opposite. They put too much paint. They're so excited about the paint that they just load a ton of paint on there, and it's way too thick. So that's the other thing. I mean, I know it kind of should go without saying, but believe it or not, some people just get a little carried away too, and they put their paint on way too thick. And this is just our background layer. We want this to be done so we can move on and do our painting. So you don't want to put it on too thick, for sure. All right, I'm trying to remember all of the things that I see new people doing. Those are the main things. So let me just continue on here, getting this painting covered. And I'm going to just pull the color over my edges. And I'm kind of doing you know, cross strokes that go this way and that way. Why not? You can always put white directly over to lighten an area on the fly. Why not? I'm not adding any water at all yet, and I don't have any kind of medium in this either. So, and you probably noticed I'm painting with my canvas flat on the table. I actually love painting this way because I can stabilize my wrist and it's just very comfortable. But there is an odd phenomenon that can happen, and that is that it's kind of distorted. You know, you need to every once in a while pick it up and look at it, you know, straight on to make sure you don't have the wrong perspective going on, if that makes sense. sometimes your stuff can be just a little bit askew. So anyway, where is everybody else from? Nancy, I know you're from Texas. Londa shared it. So, oh, Nancy, I'm giving away a piece of art if you're still there. If you want to share my video, my live. So I did these as a, I keep forgetting which way this one goes. I think it goes this way. I did these cherry blossoms live the other day, and for anyone who wants to be entered in the contest to win this original piece of art, I have 3 of them actually. Tonight I'm going to be giving one of these away to the lucky winner that shares my live video. And all you have to do is share and then come back on here and say shared, and you'll be entered to win. We will be doing that drawing probably tomorrow night, and then we'll have to get your email. All right, so continuing on, I probably would have had this all painted if I weren't talking so much, but that's how it is when you're teaching. Things just take a different amount of time. And you know, if you are painting along with me by chance, you know, on any of the videos or any of the lives, if you decide to go back and paint something with me, don't feel like you have to paint at the same speed, you know, that somebody that's demonstrating or that I'm painting, because you know, that's the nice thing about video, is you can stop, pause, rewind, and all that good stuff. And you know, I mean, I've been painting a long time, so I'm probably going to be a little bit faster than you, right? That would be expected. Okay, almost done. And then I'm going to check and make sure that I have all my little weavy textures in there all filled in. Now, this is starting to get just a little bit dry feeling for me. So I might dip my brush into the water. I have not done that yet at all. Because, you know, when you first start your painting, it's nice and juicy. You just laid your acrylic paints out. Hi, Christine. Thank you for joining. Hello, hello. Thank you for watching. Okay, just then I did add a little bit of water to get this edge covered. So I got all my edges painted, and now I'm just going to go back in, and I'm going to do kind of like a little patchworky thing. I'm still using my big 3/4 inch brush, and my friend Nancy turned me on to this size brush, actually, this brush company, and I've been using them ever since. Did you know that, Nancy? The SG, is it 700 or 750? By Royal Soft Grip. Love, love, love these brushes. I've used them for years in my paint parties, and they hold up pretty well. All right, so I'm going to go around. I'm getting this a little bit lighter. I think overall I made it just a little too dark, but you know what? It probably would work better with my branches and flowers. They'd probably pop even more if I had a slightly darker background, right? All right, so let me think of what other tips and tricks I should tell you about. Let's see. I think as we're going along, more stuff will occur to me of things that I usually see people doing when I'm teaching them in my workshops. All right. That's another thing. If you're doing something like this, you should turn your painting, and because really we're just laying in a background here, and if you turn your painting, you're going to see it differently. It kind of disengages your brain, And you're just going to see things differently that you might not have otherwise seen. You might realize that you're putting it in too perfect of a pattern or something, and by turning it, you're going to break up that pattern. Something like that. I like when that happens. So now I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. So this is a 1/2 inch flat brush, and I'm just doing that so that I can break up some of these areas just a little bit more. Those are my big swatches, and of course you always want to start with the biggest brush possible and get the job done, especially when you're trying to paint in a background color. And then you want to, but you don't want to switch to too small of a brush too soon. You want to try and always use the biggest brush possible. Because I will say, most people that are beginners spend just labor too much over things that don't always matter a whole lot, and then they feel defeated. So this is a background. It's not really that important. So we wouldn't want to labor over this too long with too small of a paintbrush. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So now I'm just gonna make sure this is all mixed in my brush, and I'm just gonna go around and put these little, I don't know, squares of this grayer color in here. And I suppose what this is simulating is kind of a muted sky background back there. I suppose that's what this is. So again, I am always watching out that I don't have any lumps or bumps of paint. I want a nice smooth coat. Oh, hi Carlos. How are you? Carlos is back. Carlos and I go all the way back to grade school days. It's so funny. Who would have ever thought that we would, you know, grow up and have an internet and all this stuff, right? It's just so crazy. All right, so I'm starting to get some other colors in there. And again, I am just keeping it that's another thing. Keep it a simple palette. When I first started painting, I thought I had to buy every tube of color imaginable, you know. But, you know, really you don't. You actually create more. This is just a few colors, and it's very harmonious. I mean, I know this is a very calm and simple painting, but that was what I was going for. That was my intention. I'm sprucing up a extra bedroom, a spare bedroom, because it just needs it. A couple weeks ago when it was so cold up here, I was like looking for houses down in Arizona. I was like, let's get out of here. I'm so sick of this. Carlos says way back. And I just don't think I can leave the grandkids and my daughter. So it's like, okay, well, you know, when really faced with the decision of, you know, do we want to move? Do we want to get out of it? It's just so cold. I'm tired of the snow. I'm tired of all this stuff. I just don't know. I just don't think I could do it. You know, I got 2 little grandkids. So, but anyway, okay, instead I'm going to spruce up the house a little bit. So that's what I told my husband. So I'm starting with this one spare bedroom, and I want to use like really nice beachy colors, you know, sand and sky, you know, blue, beige, you know, pale gray. Nice, I know it's sedate, but calming colors. So anyway, I'm digressing too much. Am I talking too much, you guys? I don't know. Probably. Oh, well. All right, so I'm going to continue on trying not to put this all in a perfect pattern where everything is spaced exactly even, which, you know, our brain wants to do that for some reason. Our brain just, I don't know why, that's what our brain does. But, all right, I think we're getting to the point where I don't need to spend too much more time on this. Let me just get this done. Somehow feel like I'm taking too long. Maybe more of just blue. A little more white. Now, you know, in the Painter's Journey, my online classes, I meet all kinds of people, and Carlos, he says they can visit you in Arizona. You know, I said that to my daughter, and she said, well, you know us, Mom, we hate the heat. So I think she was saying that they wouldn't come visit us. I think that's what that meant. They really don't. They don't like the heat at all. And so I don't know. And they never take vacations either. So I wouldn't see them too much. I just know it. I just know I wouldn't. Isn't that terrible? So anyway, okay, that's probably pretty good. It's a little bit rough, but that's okay. It's probably better that way. Now the thing is, I can always come in and paint more of this background in later on if I really wanted to. It would be a little bit difficult, but you know, always leave that option to yourself. You know, remind yourself that you can always change your mind with acrylic painting. You just let it dry and paint over it and nobody's gonna know, and I'm sure not gonna tell. That's my joke that I say to everybody in my paint parties when they're so freaked out about making a mistake. It's like, you could just paint over it. Nobody's gonna know. I'm not gonna tell, I promise. Anyway, okay, so now you can get out a heat gun or your blow dryer and just get this dry right away. I hate doing that to you guys. I hate making you hear that. Oh, I didn't talk about washing out the brush. See, I just did that without thinking. All right, so in my paint parties, I was always concerned with people dirtying their cup of water too soon. But, you know, if you're painting at home or you're painting with your kids, you know, you can monitor that. You can go swap out your cup of dirty paint water as often as you want. But I will say this, like I said before, the brush, after a while, the paint is going to accumulate down into the ferrule and it's going to widen out like, you know, like we all get the bigger hips as we get older. So you want to make sure that you kind of either wipe it against the rim like this to kind of get it back in shape. That'll push some of that paint back down into the bristles where it belongs. Or you can always just take a paper towel and fold it over and pinch. And so I always call these, like this is the daddy brush and this is mama. And then the round, I don't have my normal round. I usually have a round that looks like that. The round is junior. So it's a family of brushes. I'm silly, right? But yeah, so you can always fold over and pinch the paint out, right? Pinch it a couple times. And then when you really want to get all that paint out of there, let's say you're switching colors and it's really important, here's what you're going to do. You're going to stick it in the cup of water and you're actually going to touch the bottom of the cup. Gently, you're not going to jab it like you're killing something. You know, just gently swish, touch the bottom because that releases more of the pigment from the bristles. And I have this too fill right now to swish vigorously. So if you're painting with kids, you might want to watch out that you don't fill the cup up too much because inevitably kids knock over the cup of water. That happens. But then here's the important thing. When you take it out of here, you want to hold it downward and because this, and you want to maybe wipe it on the rim of the cup. Holding it downward, you want to pinch it again because believe it or not, this ferrule acts like a cup and it'll hold water. And I can't tell you how many times I have had the perfect mixture of color and I'm painting and then a drip comes out of my ferrule and ruins the whole thing. It's very annoying. So you really do need to make sure you get all the water out of your brush when you're going to start to mix a new color. I hope that makes sense. So, all right. And maybe with all that jibber jabbering, this got a little bit drier, hopefully. Yeah, it's pretty dry. All right, so now here's what I love about acrylic painting. You can use chalk to draw out your design. I mean, I didn't do that on this one, but if you're nervous, it's a great way to go. If you're a beginner, definitely you want to use chalk. So I don't know if I have my chalk here. Let me see. I have little, and I just use normal, you know, regular school chalk. Is there normal chalk? I just use, you know, regular old school chalk, white school chalk. Let me grab another piece. Okay, so here's my handy dandy school chalk, and I even have a chalk sharpener. I got this at Hobby Lobby, so it's got this larger size hole that will accommodate the chalk. And I'm just gonna sharpen this up a little bit because I like a sharp point on my chalk. Oh yeah, I use the blow dryer all the time. Melissa is asking if I ever use the blow dryer. Oh yes, are you kidding? I've got a blow dryer and a table right over here behind me. And yep, it really speeds things up, doesn't it? Okay, so I can definitely just start like chalking in some of the, this isn't totally dry after all. Let me just hit it really quick with my blow dryer. Yeah. All right, so now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh well. Gosh, totally forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something about blow drying. Oh yes, when you're blow drying, you want to definitely keep the blow dryer moving. You want to keep it at least 6-7 inches away. You don't want to put it too close, and it's not necessarily the heat that dries the acrylic paint. It's the air movement. So don't put it on, you know, a real high heat. You actually want it on a medium cool heat. You can't see what you're doing when the comments show. Oh, Beth, you know, you can swipe the comments to the side. I don't know if you're on your phone or not. You could just swipe the comments, they go off to the side. Okay, so I've got I've got this all dry, and you know, just for the heck of it, I'm going to use my white school chalk, and I'm just going to kind of put a couple of these branches in here, just so that I get maybe my angle going that I want. And oh, I forgot. I was gonna try and make it look like it was a diptych. Oh well, that's okay. You guys know what a diptych is? When two canvases are side by side to make one painting. So the reason why I thought I would do this as a demo is because a lot of beginner painters really have a hard time with painting branches and painting lines. So so I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on that. And mainly it's the brush. I'll be honest with you. It's the brush. So I really love, have you guys heard of Dyck Blick? Dyck Blick is one of my favorite places in the world, art supply store. They're actually out of Illinois. And so I use their Scholastic Wonder White script brushes. So basically a script brush has a longer bristle. And what that does is it actually can hold a little bit, it can hold more paint because it's longer, but it just kind of, because it's longer, you can just get a better line. A lot of people think if they want to get a really thin line, that they should get a really small brush, you know, those little tiny ones with just a few hairs. You're actually better off with something like this, with, you know, a script, or sometimes it's called a rigger. And the other thing is, now I learned this from a European guy. I went to a face painting. I used to be a face painter too. I've done so many things. And they brought in, I went to a face painting class at this costume shop in Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, and it was a fabulous place. She's out of business now. And she brought in this face painting guy from Belgium, and he was world renowned. And this was back, oh my goodness, I don't know, 15 years ago, before anybody really knew that much about face painting. So he actually taught me this about brushes. And I mean, I used to be a keyline paste up artist. I used to design logos the old-fashioned way. That's how old I am. But anyway, we won't go into that. So here's what he said: when you want to, because when you're painting someone's face, you really have to get a thin line, and you can't mess it up. So that you think this is scary. Face painting is even scarier. So anyway, hi Melissa Lewis. So anyway, what you want to do. Oh, and another tip: you always want to dip your brush in the water. You always want to have a dampened brush. It's just better. I don't know the reason behind it. I always start with a dampened brush. And so if you want to get a nice thin line, here's what you want to do. There's several conditions that must be met. Okay. First of all, like in doing a branch like this, I prefer having my canvas, laying down on the table, because I can stabilize my wrist. I can be much more stable. I'm not a shaky-handed person because I paint all the time. But if you're a shaky-handed person, this is going to help immensely. You definitely want to have your canvas laying down. Sorry, I'm making the phone wobble. The other thing, here's what he said. So I'm going to show you on, well, no, I guess I could show you on here. First of all, you want to have a nice, juicy, flowy paint. You can't do this if your paint is too thick. So a lot of times at my paint parties, I would have classes, 30, 40 people, and at the end, our pile of black has been sitting there, and we did all this sunset, background, hills, mountains. Now we're gonna paint a tree. That black paint has been sitting there, and it's a little bit dried out. Well, it needs to be nice and juicy, and so that it flows easily off the brush. So you've got to add a little bit of water to it, or else get yourself some fresh black paint. So I would tell everybody, dip your brush in the water and mix it again with the edge of the puddle of the paint, and then just kind of spin it in there. So the way to load a round brush is, don't be shy, get it fully loaded. Now these were white bristles, I don't know if you noticed. So the paint is going all the way up the bristle. It's completely loaded with paint. I don't want to have to come back and reload frequently, because that's going to break up my line too much maybe. So you just want to get it fully loaded, and then you can just pull it against the rim of your plate to make the point of the brush come to a better point. So the whole point of the point is you don't want a glob of paint on the end of your bristles. That's a big no-no. Obviously you're not gonna get a good line that way. And here's the key the Belgian face painter dude told me. You need to have your brush at a 90-degree angle to the surface, to the person's face. 90 degrees if I was face painting, but I'm gonna do it on here. So in other words, as soon as I lay this down, if I were to come at it this way, at this angle, I'm gonna have a wider line. You wanna come at it just the tip of the bristles, stabilize your hand, I use my pinky, and just draw along there like that, light pressure. And when you're doing branches, let them be straight, kind of long pieces of line, Don't try to be curvy and fast. Do it slow and do long angles. Okay, that's my tip on branches. But anyway, I hope that makes sense as far as the line. Black, so I'm gonna mix up myself a brownish black, and I'm gonna try and quit blabbing so much and get some branches down on here. Are you guys learning anything, I hope? Picking up any tips and tricks? I love sharing what I've learned, and that's kind of the reason why I'm starting the Painter's Journey, my online classes. I've done enough of the in-person classes for 5 years now. It got a little bit old for me, going out at night and paint partying in bars and restaurants. Fun, but it got a little bit old for me. So I'm shifting my business and going online, and I love it so far. So so that's what this is. I'm basically, eventually I'm going to get all of my paintings videotaped. That's a work in progress. And oh, thank you, Christine. She says good teaching. Thank you. And And little by little, we're building a library of paintings. I think we have 7 or 8 in there right now. Actually, there might be even more than that. And each month, there are 4 more full-length painting tutorials added. And then I give 2 tip videos. And that might be a studio tip, it might be a business tip, organization tip, you know, a variety of tips. So basically 6 lessons a month. And it's only $37 for the founding members. So that is my founding rate. This is all brand new. There's going to be probably some little bumps along the way. So that's why I'm offering it at such a great value. And that's what I'm promoting here now. Hopefully you'll get to see my style. And if you want to learn how to paint, get painting back into your life, I hope that you'll join my online painting membership, The Painter's Journey. We're going to do more than just acrylic painting also. I have taught alcohol ink classes, painting with glass enamels, and watercolors, and even oils. So I don't know exactly how much I'm going to do of each of those. It's going to be mostly acrylic painting. I will say that. So anyway, okay, back to work. I gotta get back to work here. All right, so we're just going to continue. Now, when you're doing branches, oh, let me make sure this shows. So when you're doing branches, you want to start with the thinnest ones, right? And then they get thicker and thicker as you get closer to the base. So that's really important. And a lot of times when I've seen people painting these in person, I keep adding water, by the way, to my mixture here. Basically, every time I need to reload my brush, I dip my brush in the water, then I dip it in the paint, and I just twirl it. So this is very, very wet and juicy. I hope you can see that. Very, very wet and juicy. I'd rather have this be a little bit thin, the paint, you know, like see-through, because there might be a bit too much water, than to make a big fat branch that I can't stand. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me just get some more branches on here. And the good thing about this is, if I do make a mistake, like that one looks a little bit fat on the end, this is a forgiving painting. I can paint a leaf or a flower right over that and hide it, and nobody will know. You guys aren't going to tell, are you? All right, so you're getting to experience my wacky, wacky sense of humor here. So I'm just going to keep adding on branches. So what about you guys? Anybody sprucing up the house for spring? Do you guys do that? Do you guys like put different, I don't know, do you swap out your pillows or that sort of thing? I used to do that all the time. That got old too. I think when you get to be my age, you just want to really simplify everything. Isn't that terrible? I mean, but this year I will say I do want to have some springy stuff out in the house. So I've taken a few of my paintings that are a little more spring-like, and I've put them upstairs where I can see them. So I'm being careful. I'm trying not to have the same angles everywhere. I'm trying not to have similar intervals of my branches. Trying to be as varied as possible, and it's not easy. Our brain doesn't always want to do that, and that's why sometimes if you just turn the painting, it just, I don't know, it just makes you look at it differently. And again, you guys, if you want to share my live video, you'd be doing a girl a favor. what I'm doing here is promoting my Painter's Journey, my new painting membership. It's a subscription service, so it's kind of like, well, I was going to say it's like Netflix, but not really. Each month you get new lessons, and I just want to get the word out to people that might be interested in getting more painting back in their life, or learning how to paint, or maybe even have their own paint party business. I've done that for years. I've been really pretty successful in my little town here in Kenosha, and I've gotten to the point where I am willing to share all my secrets, because it is no longer my main source of business. It's just got a little too old for me. Or I got too old for it, maybe. So, yeah. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So everywhere I put a branch coming out, it's an opportunity for more leaves and flowers. And we like those opportunities. More leaves and flowers, please. Right? I wish that we could play music. Facebook has those copyright issues. So, oh well. All right, so that's probably good enough. The point that I wanted to make was, now even with this, I want to try to avoid having globs of paint. So I'm going to go around and check all my branches and see if there are any thick globs of paint sticking up anywhere that I could flatten down. Because you can, you can flatten them down with your brush. All right, so that's pretty good. I think that's okay. Again, I want this to be dry. So I think I'm going to hit that with my blow dryer, and then I'm going to show you how I do the flower petals. And hi Lisa, how are you? Good to see you. And Karen, thank you for, oh, thanks for sharing, Karen. Sharing is caring. Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm going to show you how to do these flower petals. And I will say, it really starts to come together when you put the center of the flowers in. That is what just really makes it come alive. Oh, thank you, Jamie. She says, love your work. That is so nice of you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to hit this with a blow dryer. Pardon the noise. On acrylic paint, but you definitely have to keep that blow dryer moving, and you want to keep it 6-7 inches away from the paint. I've had people come up to me at my paint parties with their paint bubbled, like they cooked it, and asking me, is there anything I can do? And I'm like, there's nothing you can do. I'm so sorry. Anyway, yeah, I don't think there's anything you can do about it. It's bubbled. Maybe scrape it off. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so now we're keeping a simple color palette because we just want this to be a calm, serene, simple spring painting. And all I have used so far is white, phthalo blue. This was actually Van Dyck Brown, another, it's like raw umber, you know, dark brown, and a little bit of black. That's all I've used so far in this painting. And all I'm gonna add when I do some of my leaves is, I've got two yellows. I've got basically like a cad yellow, and then this is raw sienna. And raw sienna is just a beautiful earthy color that makes a more natural, muted, serene type of yellow. All right, so I'm going to switch to a round brush. And have you guys ever heard of a filbert? You could use a filbert brush too, which I don't have one nearby. But a filbert would be perfect for getting these rounded edges. But you can see this is just the right size for me to get these petals. And I'm going to share my trick for doing these flowers is I actually turn my canvas and I just take my time painting each petal. I don't know, I find it therapeutic, you know. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. First I'm going to put some leaves on. So we're going to mix up some leaf colors. Leaf colors? Leaf colors. And so, okay, I'm going to get a little bit of white. And believe it or not, I'm still going to use the brown and I'm still going to use the blue because I want that color harmony. But now I'm going to add yellow to it. So I'm going to try adding the raw sienna. And it's a very strange looking green. It almost looks like, I don't know. It's just a very muted taupey color. And that's another point I want to make. However it looks on here doesn't really truly matter. This is on a white plate next to a bright blue. That's going to throw you off. What matters is how it looks on here. So I would say test it out. Go ahead and just put a little swatch down on there, and it totally looks fine on here when it's in its environment. So that's the big thing about color. Color is affected by what it is surrounded by. Totally. You've seen those I don't know, swatches of like a red square with a green square inside of it, and then they switch out the color, and it's totally affected by what's next to it. And that's the thing about painting, is that every time you change one color, it changes the synchronicity of all the colors. The relationships all kind of change a little bit. So I don't want to get too complicated, but my point is, just because something looks maybe a little funky on the plate when you're mixing it, it might look just fine on your painting. And I think that does look fine. So, I mean, granted, that's not really, it's not really a leaf color. Maybe that would be a flower, and basically that's how I do a flower. So I'm going to do another one. I don't know that I like this for my flower color, but since I have it mixed, I'm going to use it because we like variety. Why not have a couple? Hi Kim, how are you? I am going to be in Illinois tomorrow. If you're back in Illinois, I'm going to go see the grandkids, and I would love to see you. Sorry for the personal message. So anyway, let me show you how I do, that's a 5-petal flower. So basically, I wonder if I could put the camera down lower for this. Let's see if we can make this work a little bit better. Okay, so basically, Kim's not going to say anything. So basically, I'm going to picture it right there, my flower, let's say right here. And I'm going to do 1, turn my hand, 2, turn again, 3. Now I'm going to turn the canvas the other way, reload, 4 and 5. Almost like I'm doing a star. And that's how I do my flowers. And yes, it is kind of painstaking, I suppose you could say. But like I said, I actually find this very, very zen. Once you get in the groove of doing this, it becomes, I don't know, kind of soothing. So I'm going to mix up another shade of this. I'm mixing it in with this blue, and let's try some of the other yellow and add some more blue. So don't be afraid to mix up a few different shades, but definitely, because everything on my canvas is so muted, everything on my canvas has either the phthalo blue or the raw umber in it. Excuse me. I want to make sure I use that even in my color mixes for the leaves as well, because that's going to give me that harmony that I want. So now let's see what this leaf looks like. Let's put a few of these in here. Some kind of glob just happened. It's actually not a bad idea to have tweezers when you're painting with acrylics, believe it or not, because I don't know, sometimes there's just globs that appear out of nowhere, and the only way to get them is with tweezers. So I'm just kind of traveling around. I'm going to moisten my brush. I dipped in the water. So because this paint has been sitting out for, oh my goodness, I've been talking for an hour, it starts to get just a little bit sticky. So you might have to moisten it a little bit. The other thing you could do is use a spray mister bottle and just mist water over the whole thing. All right, so I'm just going to go around adding some leaves. The other thing is you don't have to be real literal about your leaves. I've seen some people at my paint parties that basically put leaf as if it was teeth growing out of there. You don't want to do that. You want to be, they could be floating mid-air, you know. They don't have to be attached literally to the branch. You know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. I'm not getting a lot of comments from you guys. Are you still there? Oh my goodness. All right, so I kind of splattered those around, that color. Now I'm going to change my leaf color. Let's do another color. Maybe I want a slightly bluer leaf. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. And again, always work in small increments if you can. I'm adding a little bit more blue to that. Again, that looks very crazy blue on here, but it might not look that crazy on my painting. Let's see. Actually, it looks really nice on my painting. I like it on there. All right, let me put a few more of these on, adding a little bit more juice, which means water. And the chalk marks that are on here, I am going to, just wipe that off with a, with a terry cloth towel. I'm going to wait till my paint is all completely dry, of course. And then, like maybe tomorrow even, or, And then I would just take, not a paper towel, but a terry cloth wet towel, and it'll get rid of all these white chalk lines. All right, so I don't want too much of that color. I'm going to add a little bit more white. And I'm going to dull it back down again with some brown. And add some yellow back in. This is a very strange color of green. Maybe I don't want this to be that muted. I don't know yet. I'm going to test it out on my canvas and see. Yeah, it's not bad. You want some grayish muted colors. Always, always, because that helps the things that you do want to pop are going to pop more if you have muted colors next to them. Again, we're talking about, color relationships and color harmony, and, that's your strategy when you're painting. My idea here is I really wanted these white flowers to pop, and part of the reason why they pop is contrast, because they have very dark centers and it's just a punch, makes them really pop. And then the other reason why they pop is the contrast of the other muted colors around them. So, all right, so I think that's enough muted colors. I want to do one leaf color that's brighter, like this one happy green color. I'm going to mix that up now. And so if you guys didn't know, I'm just going to mention it again. I am giving away a piece of original artwork. It's back here on my bench. I have a few of these. I'm going to be doing this on each night. I'm going to be giving away another piece of original artwork. If you missed my live, it's on my page where I shared how to make these, and it was really quick and fun. I used ink and watercolor, and so if you share this video tonight and then come back on here and say shared, you will be entered to possibly win one of these original pieces of artwork. And so I hope you'll share. Sharing is caring. The reason I'm doing these lives and asking people to share is I want to get the word out about my online classes that I just started. We already have, I think, 8 lessons in our little library, and they're acrylic paintings. We're going to be doing a variety of subjects and mediums, and it's just so exciting. So it's 4 full-length paintings a month, 1 each week, and 2 tip videos. It could be a business tip, it could be how to mix color, it could be stuff like this. 2 tip videos a month, and it's only $37. So that if those of you that know me, you guys know that my local paint nights, when I did them, I still do them, but my local paint nights were more than that just for 1 class. So with the online classes, it's a subscription. It's a month. You can cancel anytime though. It's a monthly, it's an automatic monthly billing cycle, and all of the videos are you can access 24/7. You can share them and paint with your friends. You can have your own little paint party in your house if you want to. And so yeah, I'm going into my whole spiel again. But yeah, that's why I'm doing the live videos, just so that you or your friends can see my style of teaching. I really like sharing everything that I know, and painting has been such a best friend for me in my life. You may know someone who has been talking about wanting to learn how to paint. They don't know where to start. This would be the perfect thing for them. It really would. They can access the videos whenever it's convenient for them. So anyway, all right, so let me go back now. I was going to do one more leaf color. So do share, please share. Let's do a more vibrant leaf color. So I always start with the light color first. I'm going to get a little white, put it over here, and I'm going to get the bright yellow, and then the tiniest little bit of blue. So this should be a very bright, ooh, that's a very bright green now. That might be too much, I don't know. I'm going to add a little more yellow. Yellow is the other color you can add to lighten. Did you guys know that? Not just white. Yellow lightens also. So let's see if that's too bright. It might be. No, I think it's okay. I don't think it's too crazy lime or anything, so I'm going to put a few more of those, add a little bit more water. Now if it were too bright, I could always have muted it down. I could have cooled it down by adding white. Anytime you add white to a color, it cools it. White is actually a cool color, believe it or not. And I could have cooled it with white, or I could have muted it with the brown again. So I'm just going around, kind of sprinkling this color all around my canvas. Not just putting it in one place. Oops, sorry, I was a little bit off camera. All right, so I think that's enough leaves. I'm going to have a lot of flowers on here. So let me put the camera back down, and I will show you the flowers. So I'm going to rinse my brush out. Hi Tracy, how are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, thank you. If you share the video, Tracy, you might win an original piece of artwork from me, my Cherry Blossom watercolor demo that I did the other day. I have 3 of them I'm giving away, so please share. Okay, so I just need to mix, oh, I just splattered some water over here. And if that happens, you can always just use a paper towel, you know, or a towel and just blot it. All right, so let's mix up. I'm going to get a new plate, and we're going to mix up this really pale neutral flower color. And who can guess what color that is? Anybody? What do you think I used to make that color of flower? You guys are very vocal. No, I'm kidding. I used my my Van Dyck Brown and white, and I think I have a little bit, oh, pewter, yeah. It actually is pewter, isn't it, Luann? So yeah, so I'm gonna get my white first, put it over here on this plate. Oh, my painting's not dry, so let me move my painting out of the way. All right, so I got white. And I think I want to put a little bit of my green in there. So I'm going to take this dull one. A little bit of that green, a little bit of this tan color. And this might be nice. It's a little bit cold. I might add some yellow to this. Let's see what this looks. I think that's a little bit light still. Add a little more brown. So with acrylic paint, we usually work from, you know, dark to light. We do our dark layers first and come in with lighter layers as we go. And acrylic painting really is a lot of layering. A lot of layering. All right, so again, here's how we do a flower. I'm going to paint over this really ugly dark one. 2, 3, and then I turn it. Reload. 4, 5. So that's too light. I want to go a little bit darker. Maybe I could even use this color right here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, you want juicy paint. It should flow off your brush really easily. And then even with the round brush, like I was talking about before, my my ferrule, the base of the brush is getting too fat. Got that middle-aged spread. So you want to wipe it against the rim of the plate like that, so that you're pushing the paint back down near the tip of the brush where it belongs. And then I'm just gonna, now the nice thing is I can go over like any mistakes that I really can't stand, stuff I want to hide like this one. I can always paint over that. And I'm still deciding if I like this color or not. I know it's going to look a little bit different when it dries. So where is everybody from tonight? I am in Wisconsin, and it is just starting to feel like, okay, maybe we were going to have spring pretty soon. Maybe. And I don't know about if anyone else local is on here, but I felt like this was like a bad, I don't know, a bad winter this year. Anybody else? I don't know. We had so much snow, and I mean, I'm not complaining, but when we get that much snow, it's a little bit hard for us with our driveway situation, you know, because they plow us in. The city truck comes by. We're in an inside corner, and we just get nailed every time. I never, you know what, Luann, I am from Illinois. I'm from Chicago. I have never heard of Channahon, Illinois. Wow. Never heard of it. So, every painting kind of goes through like an ugly stage. Let me turn it this way. And sometimes we get restless. Let's see, what do I want to add? I think I'm going to add a little bit of more yellow to this. Or, well, that was way too much yellow. What was I thinking? More brown. I lost my, oh, there, that's good. And so, God, what was I saying? I got all caught up in my color mixing there. Don't remember what I was saying. Oh, a little south and west of Joliet. Okay, all right. Kind of country-ish out there, right? Oh, I was talking about the ugly stage of a painting. So, what I noticed about this painting is it really started coming together. You know, you have to keep on making a lot of flowers. And I could see how somebody doing this painting would think, wow, when is this thing going to start looking, you know, good? You know, but honestly and truly, when you get to the white flowers is what really makes the whole thing. And especially when you put the centers in of the flowers, all of a sudden, bam, they really come alive. So I'm just saying, if you're going to do something like this, keep that in mind. You just have to be patient, keep plugging along, you know, see it through. It ain't over till it's over. So, how many of you have not painted in like forever? Anybody? Or maybe you do paint, but you're just kind of looking to learn a little bit more, or maybe it would be great to be with a group of other people that are painting, or maybe you want to learn some other things besides acrylic painting, which we are going to be doing some alcohol inks and some watercolor. We're going to be doing all kinds of different things in the painter's journey. Hi, Cheryl. Glad you're here. How are you feeling? I know you mentioned you weren't feeling great. She said she had... it sounded like one of those commercials for cough medicine when you said you've got the stuffy head fever, and I forgot what commercial that was. When you have all those terrible symptoms. That sounded terrible. And you can even do, some of these could be 4-petal flowers, could be a little bit simpler. I don't think I'm as good at those. I don't want them to look like plus signs, but some of them could just be 4-petal flowers. And I suppose some of them could even be a little more bluish even. Well, no, then they wouldn't pop out against the background, would they? I don't know. Let's see what happens if we do a couple of yeah, no, the blue you can't see at all. No, I guess I do kind of see them. It depends on if it lands in an area. Actually, I kind of like that color. you know, and the more you do these flowers, the better you get at them. You just have to really make sure that the tip of your brush is in good shape and not acquiring that middle-aged spread. Hi, Linda. I make it look easy. Oh, well, thank you. I think I just have been doing it a bit longer. You know, that's all. It's just it's just like anything else. The more you do something, you know, the better you get at it. That's all. That's all. All right, let's see. All right, so I know it looks really dingy and kind of I need to fill in this part a little bit more. And I'm going to make the branches. I don't know if you notice, but, and this is actually true if you do any plein air painting. The trees are actually usually just a little bit darker near the base, near the ground. Trees can be darker. And then as you get up to the tips of the branches towards the sky, they're a lighter shade very often. So I did that here. I made this kind of more blacky brown, and up here it's more of just the Van Dyke brown, aka raw umber. I love to paint, mostly use acrylics, but I'd like to learn watercolor. Oh yeah, watercolor gets a bad rap, right? And I've got a variety of different watercolors. I have different brands that I've used, and I really love these guys too. These are the Radiant watercolors. These are real flowy and so vivid. They're really, really nice. They are expensive though, but I think I want to do some classes using these as well. Yeah. So I've got some watercolors right here. That was another thing I was thinking of showing tonight. Like this would be a really like beginner friendly type of watercolor. Really it's just a matter of kind of getting the muscle memory of thinking about where to space things out. So to start, I would probably have you use pencil lines, you know, just to get yourself acclimated with spacing and things like that. So here's a couple more ideas. I was going to demonstrate this. I think I'll come back on and demonstrate this tomorrow if I'm not too exhausted after watching my grandkids. I'm going to go out and visit them tomorrow for a little bit. But I mean, these are very simple, and this is such an easy technique. You basically just load the brush and lay it down and then move on to the next stroke. It's a very, very simple and fun thing to do. And these look great matted. You know, if you just put even a white mat on them and frame them in one of those quick frames, you know, those plastic cheap frames from Hobby Lobby, they actually look really nice in just a simple frame like that. So anyway, I am going to be putting these two. I might come on and do a live showing how to like frame these. I'm going to put these up in the spare bedroom that I'm refreshing. If you guys just came on, you may have missed. I was talking about with all the cold up here in Wisconsin, we were ready to move. I was ready to start looking for a house down in Arizona. And then I realized I just can't leave my grandkids, so I'm just going to spruce up the house here and there. And I'm starting with a spare bedroom, and I'm using like beachy colors in that bedroom. So I'm going to frame these. I found a really nice frame at Michael's, a blue, like an indigo blue frame. And I thought, oh, these would look great in that. So yeah, I might hop on here and show you that. I don't know if you guys are interested in that sort of thing. But anyway, okay, back to my painting. I'm just all over the place tonight. I'm usually not such a chatterbox. Actually, I like this color. See, so sometimes it's a good idea to change your game plan and experiment and try something else, right? All right, maybe I'll do a few more of those, maybe just a little bit lighter. So I'm reloading my brush. And I did that thing that I talked about. I had water come out of my ferrule and it watered down that whole petal. So I'm guilty of the tip that I told you how to avoid, because I was in a hurry. So what happens is this ferrule can act like a cup, and when you least expect it and you have it turned back down again, boom, water drains out and, you know, ruins your brush stroke that you just did. So right there you can see, wait, can you see it? Like it's real watery and you can see through it, but that's okay. I can let that, well, I can hit it now. It might work. Yeah, not too bad. And that's okay. That happens. And that's the thing. I think that acrylic paints are really very forgiving. So now I'm going to start putting some lighter flowers on here, and it'll start to come alive. I'm going to save my whitest white for the end. Again, we're always working from like the darker values. Value is how light or dark a color is. Every color has a value, and we're always trying to work from light to dark. Dark to light when we are painting with acrylics. So I'm getting a little bit lighter with my flowers that I'm adding, but they're not white yet. I'm not going to jump to my white petals yet. Oh, that one doesn't look good. And again, I like to lay my canvas down and let my arm rest. And sometimes I'll even turn the canvas. Of course, when you're doing this, you have to make sure you don't dip your hand in some wet paint. I have been known to do that quite a few times. But I'll just turn the canvas like this to get it, you know, in just the right position. And I will say it's important to have just the right size round for this job. This is about a number 8, I believe. Yes, this is a number 8 round. Getting a little bit lighter. I should do some 4-petal flowers. Yeah. So it's starting to get a little more lively, I think, right? I think so. And I think my headache has just about gone away, so that's good. I'm trying not to space these all perfectly. All right, a little bit lighter still. So what do you think? Does this look like a painting that you would try to paint? Looks pretty easy, right? I honestly think that was one of the reasons that attracted me to this painting. I saw something like this, very similar to this, in a furniture store. I know it's kind of embarrassing that I was inspired by a painting in a furniture store. But it was just so cute. I really liked it. Of course, it was a diptych. There were two of them, and I think that they were like 24 by 24, you know. So that made them even prettier, I think. So just think of it like a 5-point star, that's all. All right. I think I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to stand back from it a little bit. Now I can always add a few more branches too. So I'm just kind of comparing it to my other one. So yeah, I mean, not bad. It makes a really big difference when I put those centers in, I will say that. I'm not going to do that yet. But okay. Let's see, what other tips did I want to make sure I covered as far as painting? So we talked about like loading the brush, keeping your brush a little bit clean, how to paint lines, how to paint large areas and avoid lumps and bumps. What else? What else? I don't know. All right, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to darken up some of this down here. Get this a little bit darker. So maybe that's going to be just a little bit thicker. I can always go back in and, you know, repaint over some of my leaves. I just feel like that needed to be a little bit more filled in. All right, so now, oh, I should have left that in there. So okay, I'm going to fill in some of these dots now, and this is the magic part. So when you're doing dots, you want to have nice, fresh, juicy paint. Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Cheryl. So you want to make sure you have nice, juicy paint, and you want to load the tip up. You want to get just the right amount, like a little ball of paint on your brush. And I mean, look at what a difference that makes as soon as you start putting those centers in. Just makes a huge, huge difference. Doesn't it already, guys? Well, I sure do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Does anybody have any like questions about acrylic painting or about the painter's journey? Just let me know. Glad to answer any questions that you might have. Oh, this one's not in the center, but that's okay. I mean, I know that all these flowers are facing forward, and in reality that would not happen. I know. Looking a lot better with the little dots in there, right, guys? Now I am going to go back in and finesse just a little bit more. And I have to say, it is in, sometimes it's really in the last few minutes of a painting and these little details that, oh, it can make such a difference. So there's just a couple more tweaks I want to do, I think. I don't know, I just love how light and airy it feels. Of course, we're still looking at the chalk lines on there. But okay, let's see, when we compare these, what do you guys think it needs? Oh. Oh, I see. So I think what's wrong, I think what it needs is to have a couple of these going off. Like this is too much the same where they're not going off the canvas at all. So at least one of them needs to be going off the canvas because again, we need variety. And also, I didn't bring enough of my flowers all the way up to the top of the canvas like I have on this one. On this one, I've got flowers all the way up to the very top, and on this one, I didn't do that. So, see, my brain just wasn't thinking about that. So, I'm going to do that real quick. So, it's okay. I can add some more flowers on. I'm going to go back into that taupey color. So, by now, my paint is really kind of tacky. My paint gets tacky towards the end of the night. And I get a little bit too crazy with my jokes, so don't mind me. But seriously, I'm here all night. No. All right, so I am going to put a few more of these up here. And maybe some of these are, maybe that's tucked behind. And then maybe there's more going off the edge on this side too. I didn't have enough going on this side. I can also bring in a few more of these little branches that don't have anything on them, like a little, these guys here. I don't have any of these. I added these on, you know, at this stage, these little guys that stick out. So I need a few of those on here. And again, I'm making sure I have a really nice juicy paint so that this will really flow off my brush really easy and not give me a hassle. And I'm just going to kind of make them, you know, curve a little bit. Maybe that one's going to go all the way off. Yeah, maybe this is the one that's going to go all the way off. Guess I'm going to have a few going all the way off. How's that? Yeah, I think it looks a lot better having some going off, don't you guys? Some of them going all the way off the edge, And then of course I can add a few more flowers in there too. Oh, here's a center I missed. Now later on I'm going to go around and pull all these things over on all my edges that I didn't do. I won't bore you with that. And then I just want to add a couple more flowers in the areas where I had those new branches. And we're going to be just about done. So it's these little tweaks at the end that can really help a painting out. You should always just keep painting. You know, if you had a plan, see it through. Like I say, with these flowers, you got to have a ton of flowers on here for it to start looking right. And I could add a few more leaves on these new branches. So my leaf color, again, I always get the white first. And then yellow. And then the tiniest little bit of blue in there. So I'm going to make this a bright green mix. Somehow didn't make very much of that. Oh, I like that color even better, that really light green color. Yellow green, light yellow green. And again, like I said, I can use this strategically to cover up any little, you know, boo-boos or things that I may not want to show. So now it looks more springy, I think. And now I want to go over so I'm going to pick a few flowers that I really want to have stand out, and I'm going to hit them with white again. So, you know, maybe right up here. So I'm just going to make sure I have a nice clean white, and I'm just going to make a couple of these, you know, really white. Paint's a little thick, it's not really going on there too good for me. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. like it. I like it. And then there's just a couple more that I need to put a dot on the center. And you know, you don't have to use black in the centers. If you want a softer look, you could certainly use your dark brown. But I hope I covered you know, some new things that you may not have known, some tips and tricks with regards to acrylic painting. Another little tip that I like to do for cleanup is I like to have like one of those nail brushes or maybe a vegetable brush. I've got one by my sink. You know, because inevitably you get paint all over yourself. So I'll use like a brush like this when I'm cleaning up my nails. My hands get all covered in paint, or else I'll use one of these dish sponges gently on my hands to get rid of paint that gets all over my skin. I don't even bother getting manicures anymore because I always, the acrylic paint really sticks to my to my nails whenever I get them done. Anyway, okay, let's pick this back up here and show you the one we did tonight and the one we did before. And does anybody have any questions or anything? Just let me know if you do. I kind of wish I had made it go the other way, then I would totally have a diptych. Oh well. Oops, you can't see it here. There we go. Now I can see them. Oh, so that's funny. Looking at them side by side, this one just has a little bit more detail in it. It has more flowers and stuff in it, but yeah. Now, if you have paint left over, you can always save this. You can put another plate over it. You can, first of all, you can mist it with water with a spray bottle. Put a lid on top of it and then stick this whole thing in a Ziploc bag. Did you guys know that? You can stick it in a Ziploc bag and you can even just stick it right in your refrigerator. The other thing you could use is a Stay Wet palette by Masterson. There's two different sizes. There's a real big one and then there's a small travel size. I really only get that out when I'm, you know, doing a bigger project or using my professional grade paints that I just don't want to waste at all. These I don't tend to care too much about wasting. Isn't that bad of me? These are, you know, just craft paints. But I think that's it, you guys. I'm just going to give you one more plug about the Painter's Journey. If you didn't know, it's an online membership. It's a brand new thing for me. I've just launched it. I have a few members now that I'm very grateful for. And we are going to be doing 4 lessons a month, 4 full-length tutorials, and then there's going to be 2 tip videos where I give you, like it might be a business tip or how to sell your artwork or organizing your studio, mixing color, you know, various little tips like that. Kind of like what I talked about tonight, these tips on acrylic painting, things like that. But then 4 full-length painting tutorials, and they're yours to access whenever you want. We'll have a Facebook group where we will give you the lessons in the unit. It'll be a, you know, like a photo and an explanation and then the links to the videos. And then I haven't done this yet with the group, but we're going to be doing, you know, some live sessions together where if they have any questions, they can ask me. If they want to include their artwork for me to maybe critique or give some guidance on, I can do that. Really, just about anything that you might need help with. I'd like to be like your coach to help you out with any of those types of issues that you're having with painting or techniques or anything like that. So at any rate, it's called The Painter's Journey. You can check it out at my website. It's AgnesFriedlanderArtStudio.com. I know that's long, but I think I have the link on my Art Around Studio page here on Facebook. And then if you would share this video, you will be entered to win some original art from me. And I'm going to show you what it is. I did a live video on painting these cherry blossoms just a few days ago. And it's still up there if you'd like to watch it. These are really fun and easy to do. This is watercolor and ink. And I've got a few of these here that I banged these out real quick, and I thought, wow, I'll give these away. But so all I ask that you do is share the video, and then you'll be entered to win. Cheryl says, wow. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. So share my live. I'm just trying to spread the word. It's very hard on Facebook now for people to hear about me like it was when I first started, but that's how it is. But if you know anybody that might be interested in learning to paint, not only acrylic paint, but we're going to be doing other things, watercolor, alcohol inks, glass enamels, things like that, then if you share the video, you'll be entered to win. And then you'll also, oh, she says that's very nice of you. Thank you, Cheryl. You'll also have the video on your timeline to refer to later on as well. So anyway, that is it, you guys. That's all I can really think of. I guess one last thing is, so this still has the chalk on it because I drew on there with chalk. So tomorrow, or I guess I could do it later on tonight. I would wait till I'm sure this is really, really dry because, wow, this one really sticks out, this one really dark one. I might paint that one over. I noticed this, I'm looking in the camera, but the camera acts as a mirror. And that's one more tip I'll give you. It's always a good idea to have a mirror to look at your painting, because you're going to see it tricks your mind, tricks your brain, and you'll see something that you don't see when you're looking at it this way. You see it differently somehow, or you could turn it upside down as well. Sometimes when you turn your painting upside down, you might see something you just didn't notice before, something you need to fix. But what I was going to say was, with a wet, towel like this, just a terry towel, dampened. I mean, I could probably do it now because I think this is all pretty dry. You just lightly wipe and it'll eliminate all those chalk lines. Yeah, it's a little scary. I might still have some wet black areas, so I'm not gonna do it too hard. But I would wipe away all that chalk, and then the one last thing I want to say is, you may not know that varnishing is your painting's best friend, varnishing. So you want to give it a couple of days to really dry and kind of cure, and then you want to varnish it, because it's gonna make the colors just more rich, and it protects your painting from UV rays and dust, and it just makes your painting a lot more professional, and it evens out the sheen of all the paints. Some paints have shine to them and some don't. So you might not like that look when you're looking at a painting and it's like, how come some leaves are shiny and some are not? If you varnish, and I have a video on my YouTube channel, if you look up Agnes Friedlander on YouTube. And actually, I don't know, I may have done that. I think I've done a live on varnishing on my page as well. On Art Around Studio. But anyway, when you varnish your painting, it just makes it look, oh, thank you, Cheryl, for sharing. It makes it look so much nicer. It really does. It really enhances your painting. So I would recommend varnishing. And so I do have a couple of varnishes I can show you real quick. So you can get like a Liquitex varnish. This is a gloss varnish. You may not like the gloss. I mean, it is really super shiny. You might like it just a little bit. The next one down, it might be called satin or semi-gloss. I don't know. I forget what they're called. You know, you might go for Liquitex. You can get this at Hobby Lobby or Michael's and use a coupon, right? Or this is actually a better value. This is really good. Polyacrylic. This one's matte. I don't know why I bought matte. I know I had a reason. I would get the gloss or the semi-gloss. And this one is I like how it has a plastic lid. And you know, I won't get into how to varnish because you can always look up my video on YouTube. But I would definitely look into buying some varnish and just test it out on a small one, on a small painting to get used to it. To how to, you know, something that doesn't really matter the first time you varnish something. You got to be very careful of what you have on your painting. Some things will run. You got to make sure everything is permanent. You know, like if you're doing a mixed media piece and you've used pen that is not permanent, it'll run when you varnish it, so that's not good. And here in Wisconsin, I have to brush my varnish on. I can't really spray varnish because half the year it's freezing and those spray cans don't work in freezing temperatures, so I just brush on my varnish typically. So anyway, that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing and for hanging out with me tonight. And I think tomorrow I'm going to come back on live again. I think I wanted to show you, you know, if you'd like, I think I'm going to show you some watercolor botanical painting. These are really fun. They make a really nice quick thing that you can make and put up in your house or give as a gift. And all I used for this is 140-pound watercolor paper, and it's from a pad. It's just this Canson Excel watercolor paper. And I mean, thank you, Jean, for sharing. Thank you so much. There are much more, you know, higher grade expensive watercolor papers, but you know, this is a good one to start out on. If you're a beginner watercolorist, this is a great one to start with, just to kind of start getting used to the whole thing. And this is what I'm going to recommend everybody gets when we start our watercolors in the painter's journey. And then we're going to explore the heavier papers because they're very expensive. You don't want to go right into those right away until you kind of know what you're doing. So yeah, if you want to join tomorrow night doing some watercolors, I think I'm going to do this live, and you could probably in the meantime run out and get yourself, this is a 9x12 pad of Canson watercolor paper. I forget if they're on sale this week or not. But anyway, that's it, you guys. Thank you so much, and have a great night, what's left of it. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.